Good morning. My name is Don Bacon. I represent the 2nd Congressional District in Nebraska, which is the city of Omaha and the surrounding suburbs. I want to thank AFA President Sarah Nelson for the opportunity to speak for the 49th meeting of the AFA Board of Directors via this video. I also want to recognize the years of service to AFA members of your Vice President, Deb Suter, and the Secretary-Treasurer, Kevin Crean, both of whom I understand are retiring this year. Congratulations to you both on your careers of service to your members. When I came to Congress, I did not know much about unions or their issues. I spent most of my adult life serving in the U.S. Air Force and retired a few years ago as a general and moved back to Omaha. But all those years in the Air Force taught me the importance of safety related to transportation. I've endeavored to be recognized as a leader in the transportation safety in the U.S. House of Representatives, especially aviation safety. These issues are almost always simply about common sense measures to protect both passengers and the hardworking women and men who keep our nation's transportation systems moving safely. I want to focus on 3 issues today that are front and center for flight attendants in our aviation system. 4 years ago, a JetBlue airplane had a significant bleed air incident. As it turns out, one of the flight attendants was a constituent who lived in Omaha. He passed out and was not revived until he was at the hospital. He almost lost his life. As an Air Force general, bleed air incidents were a concern as a base commander for my pilots. Add to the 2 pilots the over 200 other individuals on a passenger aircraft, and this problem becomes all the more worrisome. The incident prompted me to learn more about the quality of the air pumped into our cabins of our passenger airplanes. As I became more educated on the challenges of this problem in the commercial airline industry, I was stunned to learn that there are no carbon monoxide detectors on our passenger airplanes. Quite disturbing, since I average 6 to 8 flights a month commuting from Omaha to D.C. and back. So I decided to co-sponsor the Cabin Air Quality Act at that time. Now, when the bill was reintroduced recently as H.R. 7367, I joined again, this time as an original co-sponsor. This bill would provide training for airline personnel on how to respond to and report bleed air incidents on board aircraft. It would standardize the collection of data related to a bleed air event and investigate such an event to identify the cause. It would require airlines to install carbon monoxide detectors on passenger aircraft. The general flying public and airline personnel working on airplanes desperately needs this common sense bill. Second, and just as important, I've been extremely disturbed by the reports of escalating violence by passengers against flight attendants. There are a number of factors that are leading to this alarming trend. Noncompliance with safety rules and the wide availability of to-go alcohol are 2 frequently cited causes of this escalating problem. But whatever the factors are causing this increase in disruptive and violent behavior towards flight attendants, effective deterrents need to be established. Some of the airlines have established a do-not-fly list on their airline to deal with disruptive passengers. But this remedy has too many loopholes and is completely inadequate. Just this week, I signed on as a co-sponsor to H.R. 7433, the Protection from Abusive Passengers Act. This bill would direct the TSA to establish a no-fly list for passengers who have been convicted by the DOJ or fined by the FAA or TSA, banning these individuals from flying on any U.S. carrier. We need to hold these disruptive passengers accountable for their actions. And I can't think of a better answer than simply saying you cannot get on an airplane again. And third, I'm very pleased that flight attendants finally got the mandatory 10 hours of rest a few years ago in the FAA reauthorization legislation. It made no sense to give that level of rest to pilots, but not to the flight attendants, who are much more susceptible to fatigue, being on their feet half the flight, sometimes with the plane being jostled by rough air. It is simply wrong for the FAA to not have finalized regs immediately to establish the rules on how to transition from 9 to 10 hours rest. Congress needs to keep the FAA's feet to the fire, regardless of whose administration is in charge. I am proud to have the support of a majority of the unions in Omaha. Last cycle, we had 27 unions that are either endorsed or showed public support for my campaign. I believe it is crucial that the Republican Party engage with the broad labor movement to advance laws and policies where there is mutual agreement. Just last week, I was rated number 12 out of 435 members of Congress on the 2021 Lugar Bipartisan Index, an annual published by Georgetown University to measure a member's willingness to cross the aisle and support their issues. The single biggest reason for that rating is my work with and on behalf of the entire labor movement. AFA under Sarah Nelson's leadership has been true to its word that they will support members of Congress who support their issues, regardless of party. My positions of support on aviation safety are based on principled common sense. But I will say it is a lot easier to take positions on behalf of any organization's members when that support is reciprocated. And I deeply appreciate that support. AFA has been a steadfast supporter in the last few years, and I applaud Sarah's resolve and leadership to stay on that path. Thank you again for allowing me to speak to you today, and good luck with the rest of your conference. Thank you.